Now, have you ever felt like you went 60,000 years back in time? I did several times actually. And the first time that happened, I was on a beach in Egypt. Standing speechless. In front of me stood my future stepdad, also speechless. I spoke Russian and he spoke Dutch, and we just ran out of the 20 words that our languages share in common, not knowing what to do. Not having a common language to communicate through. Well, that's what I thought, and then it hit me. What if he could see it? And I started drawing in the sand. My house, and the hamster, and the boy that bullied me in school, and Richard, my future stepdad, he started drawing back his house, and airplanes because he loves flying, and his dog when he was a kid. And those were the silliest drawings ever. I would not dare to show you. But we had a lot of laughs, and we had a conversation. A visual conversation. And that's the beauty of it. I am really getting lost with all my tools. That language and communication started with images. In fact, visual communication is as old as mankind. Back then, when we didn't have words to speak, our ancestors would pass on their experience and wisdom by drawing pictures and leaving for us these messages. Or they would use images to draw our attention. Like here, the Egyptian hieroglyphs. Stop! Don't go there, you will die. 5,000 years later, I still get the message, and we call these pictograms, a picture with a message. And today, we still are using pictograms quite a lot. Think of road signs. One glance, and you know exactly where to go next and how to navigate this concrete jungle of a megapolis, of Beijing in our case. But also, pictograms are our favorite emojis. Can you imagine your life without them today? I definitely can't, really, because what conveys the pain of disappointment better than this? Now, over time, people started collecting these symbols of all kinds of things into systems. And sometimes these symbols mean sounds, like with the Latin and Etruscan languages. And sometimes these symbols mean entire concepts and words and ideas, like with the Chinese Hanzi. And as we collect them together, they usually form alphabets, and alphabets help us to convey the language, share it, and pass it on throughout the years from one human to another. What does that mean? That actually means that our language of words, verbal communication that we are talking about today, would not exist without the visual communication. Now, why is it that we humans love images so much? If you had to choose two manuals, on the left and on the right, on how to make a gingerbread house, raise your hand if you would prefer the option on this side. Okay. And raise your hand if you would prefer an option on that side, the IKEA manual, you know? Okay. All right, so somehow we all tend to prefer this. And why is it? Well, because over those 60,000 of years of human evolution, our brain got wired this way that we actually grasp the meaning of images 60,000 times faster. It takes you a split of a second to understand what to do, but your mind is just dreading the idea of having to read 10 minutes through a text on how to make a gingerbread house where actually you wanted to already have eaten it 5 minutes ago. What's more, after years, when the sweet flavor of that gingerbread house already faded, the image of that day and that memory will remain burned in your memory. All right, so that's kind of why this important emperor of France, Napoleon, that we all heard about somehow, said a good sketch is better than a long speech. Well, that's great. He knew it. Now raise your hand if you think to yourself, I'm bad at drawing. Now, what makes a good sketch, actually? I went to the architecture school, and I thought I'm going to learn how to draw these buildings, these architectural masterpieces, perfectly. My idea of a perfect sketch was a flawless drawing, no messy lines, something that looks exactly like the picture of the final building. That myth got busted on day one. My heart was broken because the teacher took from us the pens and the rulers and the erasers, everything I had to control those messy lines, gave us napkins and pens, and made us draw. Well, I thought ugly drawings. And then he told us that actually every great architect that makes something worthwhile remembering starts with these ugly drawings, and that we should keep researching and exploring and drawing more on napkins. Well, I can tell you one thing. I was not happy. And I really didn't get where this was going, to be honest. And recently, a few weeks back, actually, I remembered those school days, those struggles. I was talking to my friends. They're somewhere here in the room today. And we were speaking English. And I asked my friend, I said, how was your day today? And he started explaining to me how his day was, where he went, until suddenly he realized he lost me. The message didn't come across, and I didn't understand. With no hesitation, he picked up his pen, jotted a few of these lines, and said, see, I went to that place where Eileen Gu made her legendary jumps and won her Olympic medals. And I was like, oh, I see. That's that slope. So cool, you went to the Winter Olympic Center. I was speechless. The point is that sketching is about communication. And what our teacher was trying to tell us all along is it's not about being pretty or ugly. A good sketch is good when you get the point, and the point comes across without a doubt. Let that sink in. Drawing is the act of speaking your visual language. And I'm here today to invite you to start speaking your visual language. So you all received these beautiful bags with a lot of gifts in it, and a napkin and a pen. I would like to ask you to find a napkin and a pen and put it on your knee or the chair next to you. Or another piece of paper, of course, that works. Let's do a little warm-up. Okay, take your pen, breathe in, relax, smile. Now take up your pen and draw a line. Next slide, please. Okay, draw your line. What does your line look like? or a few lines, maybe you're still searching. Okay, now draw a point. The final point, the first point, the third point, the far away or the close by, a big one or a small one, anything you like. All right. Okay, now draw a shape. Your shape, not that one of your neighbor. Maybe a happy shape, or a sad shape, or a big one, or a small one. Okay? Well, congratulations, you started speaking your visual language. It's right there in front of you. Now let's put that language to work. So turn your napkin around so it's blank again. Okay? All right? And let me ask you a question. How was your day? And speak to me through the pen. Okay? Just practiced it. Now draw a person or an object that stood out for you today, that somehow is just on top of your mind. Okay? Who or what is it? And why? Is that the first thing you think about? Now add to that drawing, we're going quickly, but it doesn't need to be complicated. Add to that drawing how that person or a thing or a happening made you feel. Were you excited, surprised, maybe puzzled? Or maybe questioned things? Okay. And now, finally, add to that drawing a lesson, something you found out that you would like to tell to your neighbor or the neighbor a few chairs later. Okay? Something that you would like to share with the other person about today, about what happened to you today, and about what matters to you today. And as you're finalizing your drawings, your first visual message in your visual language, I would like to invite you to exchange a napkin with someone else. And after all these talks on communication beyond words are done today, take 2 minutes to find that person and to talk with each other about what did you learn about each other and each other's experience from this visual message. All right? Well, now it's getting about time for us to connect the dots into the bigger picture. Sketching and drawing is not ugly or pretty. Drawing is an act of speaking your visual language. Speak through image to draw attention. Speak through image to draw from your past experiences and pass them on. And speak through image to draw conclusions. I hope that drawing can make your day, and I hope that it makes your day better. Thank you very much.